Tonight, Nigeria has successfully negotiated the release of over 100 kidnapped girls, but some don't want to return. We'll tell you why.
Later, tonight could mark Europe's first landing on Mars. We have the details.
Plus, the third and final presidential debate airs tonight. We have our political correspondents in the studio to discuss what's in store.
Hello and welcome to this week's MTV Update. I'm Haley Breen.
And I'm Dylan Gordon. Here are tonight's top stories. More than 2 years ago, the hashtag #BringBackOurGirls took over everyone's social media feeds as the world campaigned to bring back over 200 girls kidnapped by the terrorist group Boko Haram. Now Nigeria is in negotiations to get back some of the girls, but some reportedly don't want to return. The reason is unclear, but many believe it's because the girls have been radicalized or are too ashamed to come back after having the children of terrorists. Nigeria will still remain in negotiations.
Scientists and public alike are tensely awaiting the landing of European Space Agency's She-Par-Ellie probe. After being released from its mothership, She-Par-Ellie probe was set to land today, but signals were cut out as the probe entered the planet's atmosphere. The probe is part of the ESA's larger mission called ExoMars, wherein robots search the surface of the red planet for evidence of life. If the landing is successful, this will be Europe's first successful landing on Mars, and it will pave the way for further students to take space in 2020.
Tonight, the Hillary Clinton email saga continues. Documents released Monday allege that a State Department official tried to pressure the FBI into declassifying one of Clinton's emails, lessening the amount of sensitive material on her email server. In return, the State Department would allow more FBI agents to be sent overseas. This type of agreement is called a quid pro quo agreement, which is illegal between the two federal departments. While both departments deny any wrongdoing, the allegations add upset to the Clinton campaign that was already suffering from public mistrust.
Tonight is the third and final presidential debate. We have our political correspondents here to take a look at what viewers should be expecting. Here's Maddie Garcia and Bernadette Hogan with the Face the Foxes.
Welcome back to Face the Foxes. So, tonight we're going to be talking about the third and final presidential debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. So, obviously in this very irregular election, there's certain strategies and points that both candidates are going to have to really hone in on, especially with what's been going on, this chaos in the media and all of these new situations going on. So, why don't we start off with the WikiLeaks issue? So, Maddie,
right.
Thoughts on that?
So I think obviously that question's going to be brought up, but I think the Las Vegas debate, since it is the last debate, I think it'll give Hillary a chance to not answer these questions so lawyerly and stiff, and maybe give the American people what they want and answer the question straight up without sort of exacerbating the idea that she's distrustworthy and that her answers are very opaque. And also give the Democrats what they want. They want Hillary to answer these questions, but realistically, I see Hillary probably using the tactic that she's always used to discredit Trump, which has been proven to be effective. But that's how I see her answering the questions. What do you think?
Right, of course, and especially with Wallace from Fox News. The first time an anchor from Fox News has been chosen by the committee for the election.
Yeah, I think Chris Wallace will be good because he does have a reputation of being a good journalist, answering the questions, pushing the candidates when they don't answer the questions directly.
Exactly, and especially with what we've seen in the primaries, when he really had a problem with Donald Trump's bit of a spoof with Megyn Kelly, and and I really think that he's going to hone in on the news side as opposed to the opinion side.
Yeah, I mean he's specific. He wants to get these candidates when they roll out their policy. It's like whoa, wait, but those numbers don't add up. Like when he talked about Trump's $10 trillion tax plan and how are you going to do that? And Trump says, well, I'm going to take out from the Department of Education and the EPA. But then he says, well, that's only $86 trillion, not compared to the massive amount that requires your tax plan. So those don't add up.
And especially with Hillary in terms of the WikiLeaks, the Podesta emails, I mean, obviously it shows that she was a little bit more chummy with Wall Street than what she's letting off in terms of her insistence that she's going to be tough on these big bankers and whatnot.
I think these WikiLeaks, like these ones specifically, they're not incriminating, but they're embarrassing.
Right.
To be honest, it's just really playing into the whole distrustworthiness that we see. But that's not we still see in the polls, like 538's pollcast, that her distrustworthiness has skyrocketed and it's now sort of stagnant. We know that Hillary Clinton, the American people think she cannot be trusted. However, Clinton now leads Trump by 7 percentage points, which is huge.
Right, and I think that especially with Trump going into this, he's going to have to get back to the basics and get back to what really attracted voters to him in the first place in terms of national security, immigration, economic policy. He's going to have to go right back there instead of trying to feed into, I'm for women's rights and et cetera, which obviously those
Not
little
working.
comments, not working. So I really think he needs to make a decision to say to these people, the American public, hey, look, I'm not a perfect person, but you can decide between what's going to matter on a large scale, and then also what I've done in the past. And
You're
I'm
right.
sorry, and
I think if I'm Trump, I'm going to say, look, we can continue to talk about how I treated this person, or what I've said about women, or what I've said to imply that I might be playing into the racism in this country, or I could talk about my economic plan, or the issues that his conservative base do care about.
Exactly, yeah.
Like foreign hotspots and immigration policy and the wall. The wall has not been brought up in a while, and that's something that his supporters want to hear about.
Exactly. So in terms of that, we will see with tonight what the outcome is and who will be the next president of the United States of America.
Tune in at 9 o'clock, Fox, C-SPAN, probably the best one to watch, CNN, MSNBC,
etc.
Make sure to watch it.
See you next time.
Bye.
Since 2004, Florida has been discarding election ballots sent in by mail. Late Sunday, a federal judge called Florida's law regarding mismatched signatures of vote-by-mail ballots illogical and bizarre. Prior to the adjustment of the Florida law, when a voter's signature on their vote-by-mail ballot did not match their previous signature, their ballots were discarded and not counted. However, voters without a previous signature were able to resubmit vote-by-mail ballots. This irrational law accounted for a loss of more than 23,000 votes in the last election. Since the recent ruling, more than 2.4 million vote-by-mail ballots have been requested.
Obama has finally said it. In one of Donald Trump's latest speeches, he claimed that the United States presidential election is rigged. In response to this, on Tuesday, President Obama claimed that Trump needs to stop whining and toughen up. He even went as far to say as if whenever things are going badly for you, you start blaming everybody else, then you don't take what it takes to be this job. Following the far-fetched things that the Republican presidential candidate said, it seems that President Obama is really stepping up to put them down.
Well, it's been quite a season of political change, but also some climate change. Grace Cunningham is here to give us a look at this week's weather report.
Hi, I'm Grace Cunningham with this week's Highs and Lows report. Just when you think hurricane season is over, a system in the western Atlantic may become the next tropical storm of the 2016 Atlantic hurricane season during the late week. This storm could bring coastal hazards to the eastern United States. A cluster of showers and thunderstorms northeast of the Turks and Caicos Island is the feature being closely monitored for development. The next tropical storm in the Atlantic will be given the name Otto. Hopefully this storm does not cause as much damage as Hurricane Matthew did. Today, October 18th, we will have a high of 80 degrees and a low of 46 degrees. We are very lucky to have summer temperatures. Today's average was a high of 62 degrees and a low of 38 degrees. Today's record was a high of 83 degrees and a low of 21 degrees. The sun rises at 7:13 a.m. and this beautiful day will come to an end with a sunset at 6:07 p.m. Tonight there will be clear skies with a low of 62 degrees and a 25% chance of precipitation. Tomorrow will be cooler with showers and a high of 65 degrees, and there's a 20% chance of precipitation with winds northeast at 5 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day forecast. Today, a partly cloudy with a high of 80 degrees and a low of 47 degrees. Tomorrow, October 20th, there will be showers with a high of 64 degrees and a low of 58. This weekend with Marist Homecoming and Reunion Weekend begins with showers and a high of 67 degrees and a low of 43 degrees. Saturday, October 22nd, there will be early showers in the morning with a high of 53 degrees and a low of 38 degrees. Hopefully the sky is clear for the Marist football game in the afternoon. Our weekend comes to an end with partly cloudy skies on a Sunday with a high of 55 degrees and a low of 38 degrees. The new week begins Monday, October 24th with partly cloudy skies, a high of 57 degrees and a low of 38 degrees. On Tuesday, We will also have cloudy skies with a high of 52 and a low of 31 degrees. However, no matter what the weather is, some days you just have to create your own sunshine. Have an awesome week. I'm Grace Cunningham with this week's Highs and Lows Report.
The man accused of shooting controversial figure George Zimmerman was sentenced Monday to 20 years in prison. Matthew Pearson was convicted of second-degree murder after following Zimmerman last month and shooting through his car window, barely missing him. Speaking in court, Zimmerman thanked jurors for convicting a man he said had, quote, no care for human life. George Zimmerman was acquitted of a second-degree murder charge in 2013 after killing unarmed black teenager Trayvon Martin. It is unclear if his attempted murder was related to that incident.
Today's Show host Billy Bush has been fired this week after a tape featuring him and Donald Trump's vulgar conversation about women was leaked. On the tape, Bush is heard laughing at the presidential candidate's offensive words degrading women. Trump makes remarks such as his fame being a justification for him groping women, with Bush agreeing with him. Bush has come forward and said he is embarrassed and ashamed for being involved with this, and after 15 years at the network, he has left NBC willingly.
Islamic State militants have been accused of using civilians in the city of Mosul as human shields from Iraqi forces. With the potential of airstrike, Islamic State forces are holding the people who remain in the northern Iraqi city against their will. As of Monday, government troops have been working to move up from the south, while allies from Kurdish approach from the east. This operation to take back the Iraqi city could take months or years once the mission of clearing explosives begins. President Obama stated that there are plans and infrastructure in place for dealing with the humanitarian crisis.
The Austrian government will soon be voting on an amendment to demolish the birthplace of Hitler. The three-story building has been privately owned and rented out since 1972, but has always attracted neo-Nazis to the area. It has been empty for 5 years now, and the owner has refused to make any renovations. The amendment in question would allow government ownership of the property. There are plans being discussed as to what will replace the building. Many are hoping for a refugee center, a museum, or for it to be used for charitable or administrative purposes.
Next week is typically one of the only weeks where all four major sports leagues are in action at the same time. But before we can leap into the future, Josh Englander is here to give us the scoop on what's happening now.
Thanks, guys. Well, let me tell you, it was certainly an interesting last couple of days in the world of sports. October tends to be one of the most exciting months as football is well underway, basketball and hockey are starting their seasons, and baseball is in the middle of the playoffs. So try to keep up, everybody. Starting with football, Patriots quarterback and icon Tom Brady made his home seasonal debut against the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday, and boy, has he not lost a step. The Patriots went on to win 35-17, with Brady finishing 29 for 35 for 376 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. His next game will test him, though, as the Patriots head to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers this coming Sunday. Moving on to sadder news, heartbreak and tragedy entered the realm of the NFL Saturday when former Jets defensive lineman Dennis Byrd died in a car crash around 11:15 a.m. between the towns of Oglala and Claremore in Oklahoma. At 50 years old, Byrd was an icon to many Jets fans as he came back from being paralyzed in a game against the Kansas City Chiefs in 1992, defying doctors' expectations. He even wrote a memoir titled Rise and Walk, The Trial and Triumph of Dennis Byrd, about his experience dealing with his physical trauma. He will surely be missed. On to hockey news. The NHL season is officially underway, and Maple Leaf star and first overall pick Austin Matthews made his NHL debut over the weekend, becoming the first rookie in history to score 4 goals in his very first game. He's even younger than I am, too. I should start working out some more. Anyway, despite Matthews' incredible performance, the Senators still managed to squeak by with a shootout victory with a final score of 5-4. And then wrapping up finally with baseball, the MLB postseason is well underway, with the Indians leading the Blue Jays 3-0 in the American League Championship Series after a 4-2 victory on Monday night. Meanwhile, in the NLCS, the Cubs and Dodgers are tied at a game apiece, and it looks to be a far more interesting series than the former. But this is the playoffs, and anything can happen in the playoffs. And that ends this week's MCTV Sports Update. I'm Josh Englander, and thanks for watching. Let's send it back over.
British scientists claim that they're on the brink of launching a new spoon that could transform the taste of any food consumed. This futuristic spoon, called the Taste Buddy, is a foodie's miracle. The new invention delivers a low-level electrical current that stimulates the appropriate taste buds so that the mouth distinguishes sweet or salty flavors and sends those signals to the brain. The invention is being introduced by scientists at the University of London. The Taste Buddy can save lives by helping individuals make the switch to healthier food alternatives.
Who feels like leaving their house when they're sick? Like old-fashioned house call doctors used to make, technology is now allowing patients to request a doctor to come to their home. Similar to requesting an Uber ride, emergency medicine physician Dr. Ed Hadley of Dose Healthcare in Nashville uses a smartphone app for his company to provide in-home healthcare. An appointment with Dose means that a medical provider can diagnose and treat patients and even dispense medication at their home. To save a trip to the pharmacy, an appointment with Dose is at a flat fee of $99 and will save patients the hassle of leaving their homes while under the weather.
Last week, the Nobel Academy awarded many people the Nobel Prize. One of these people in particular is singer-songwriter Bob Dylan, the first ever musician to win the Nobel Peace Prize in literature. The only issue surrounding this is that Bob Dylan has been off the grid and has not accepted his $920,000 award from the Academy. They have sent him emails and calls and have been left with friendly replies, but Bob Dylan is nowhere to be found. The Nobel Academy now has to give up looking for the musician, but believe that he will eventually come around to claim his prize.
With news on movies, TV, and much more, here's Jake Hensler with this week's entertainment.
Okay, really new show? You called back Andrew? Andrew? The dude's as old as a dinosaur. I don't care if he thinks he's president. He's like older than John McCain. I just don't know what this girl's going to anymore. Andrew Auger did entertainment last time. Ouija 2 is getting good early reviews. Dr. Rogers is enjoying our shows. Here's to hoping that he sees this. This is crazier than the killer clowns who have nothing better to do than taunt people. But let's get back to the news. So this past weekend at the box office, Ben Affleck's The Accountant was our big moneymaker in a fairly modest week with $24 million. Following that is New York Times bestseller turned film Girl on the Train, which came in with $12.2 million, And Kevin Hart's new comedy documentary titled Kevin Hart, What Now? Came in with $11.7 million. Controversial filmmaker Michael Moore gave a surprise release last night of his new movie, Michael Moore in Trumpland. A film put together in a mere 7 weeks and only running at about 73 minutes. There's reportedly more about him telling you why you shouldn't vote for Trump in Ohio, which is one of the most pro-Trump parts of the country. Interesting. Also, Disney has assigned 2 more directors to the next live-action reboots. Jon Favreau, who directed Iron Man and the recent live-action Jungle Book, will be directing The Lion King, while Game of Thrones' Alex Graves will be directing the live-action Mulan. And yes, this is a metaphor of the planet and John Favreau if he screws this up. Not much is known about either film yet, but you can look for the live-action Beauty and the Beast this coming March. Also, it looks like HBO has another show taking viewers by storm. Even though Luke Cage is the next big Netflix Marvel pairing, it's Westworld that gets all the latest buzz. You can catch both shows on Netflix and HBO now. What's to come? Walking Dead is coming back if anyone still cares. The Jack Reacher sequel starring Tom Cruise is set to release this weekend, along with surprisingly positive Ouija 2, which is still mind-blowing, and Medea's Boo, or whatever the hell it's called, I don't know. But following that will be Inferno, the sequel to The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons, starring Tom Hanks. Then the weekend after that will give us the next Marvel film, Doctor Strange, as well as the animated Trolls, and Mel Gibson's next film, Hacksaw Ridge, starring Andrew Garfield. Well, that's all for now. I guess Andrew will be back next week unless those terrorizing clowns get to him first. And did you know, when Andrew was little, he was afraid of parades? Yup, parades. That's all I have for this week in entertainment. I'm Jake Hensler, giving you the fun stuff in a world of rough stuff. You know, like parades.
This Monday, a 43-year-old man was arrested for third-degree criminal mischief and second-degree burglary for breaking and entering his neighbor's house in upstate New York. The man told police his neighbor's house was on fire. However, there was no fire, and the man had been tripping on a mixture of LSD, hallucinogens, and cough syrup. While high, he crashed his car into the fence and broke down the door to rescue the neighbor's dog. He then fled to the front lawn where he was found cradling the dog. He's now on $15,000 bail. Thankfully, the dog was not injured.
This will be an exciting weekend here at Marist College, as it is homecoming and reunion weekend. Special events will be held throughout to show our esteemed alumni how the campus has grown. These events range from the dedication of a Fontaine classroom to John G. White on Friday evening, the family picnic on the campus green on Saturday, and a special alumni mass on Sunday. Also, don't forget to show your Red Fox pride at the homecoming football game against Davison College at Tenney Stadium this Saturday at noon.
And we hope to see some of you Red Fox alumni here this weekend. Well, that's all we have for you.
This is Haley Breen. This has been your MCTV News Update. I'm Haley Breen.
And I'm Dylan Gordon. Good night.